Pat McGuinness, National Housing Party, and we're on the day of the epic battle of Makerfield, and I'm going to explain to you why I really want Reform to lose the election this evening. And Reform UK are a despicable party. Nigel Farage is a traitor to this country, and I'm going to tell you some of the things why I think that. Now, most people will know that I was in the BNP 2012 till 2021, and I remember back in 2012, 2013, we were running around like headless chickens telling people the British people are going to become a minority if we don't stop permanent settlement immigration. And people like Farage was just continually calling us the R word, saying that black people can't join, and that wasn't actually true. That policy changed in 2009, and he knew that full well, but he still wanted to put the boot in and demonise the indigenous British people. Sometimes people say to me, why do you, because I say that Reform UK are anti-white, and the reason I say they're anti-white is because of their ban of ex-BNP members. Not only ex-BNP, any political party that campaigned in a civilised and democratic way to stop immigration and prevent the indigenous British people becoming a minority. He's banned them. So that alone is an anti-white policy, because you're 15, 20 years later, you're still demonising these people who are trying desperately, including myself, to prevent us becoming a minority. And it's just despicable. And what makes it even worse is Reform UK, right, I'll just say now, I don't have a problem with ethnic minorities in joining the party and standing as candidates. If we can't find people in an area and ethnic minorities want to help us, yeah, if they agree with the policies, that's fine. But Reform UK promote it. They're promoting multiculturalism. They're promoting the politically correct agenda, which is anti-white and anti-Christian, because I say they're anti-Christian as well. People say to me, why do you say they're anti-Christian? For a start, they're celebrating gay relationships, which is sex outside of marriage, which is anti-Christian. They had a news conference with their advisor, a lesbian woman, I think she was, high up in the prison service, and they literally said in the news conference that they would send biological males to women prisons. So although they're saying, oh yeah, we're going to take these pride flags down and cancel buildings and stuff, but they're still willing to send biological males to women's prisons. So that's the reason they're anti-white and anti-Christian. They're also Zionist, and Farage literally wanted our armed forces involved with this failed attack on Iran, which has been a total disaster. America and Israel have lost this war, and Trump's just capitulated to Iran to stop it. And Farage wanted to be involved with it because he's so desperate to please his Zionist masters. They've got a Friends of Israel group in Reform UK. So there's absolutely nothing patriotic about Reform UK. They're anti-white, they're anti-Christian, they're pro-immigration. Farage has been open about this all the way through his career. He thinks permanent settlement immigration points-based is great. It enriches us, it makes our country better. This is literally what he says. And if you are a nationalist and you don't agree with permanent settlement immigration, you cannot support that party. So there's many British nationalists supporting Reform, and they're banned from joining. They're banned from joining the party. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if Farage gets into power and they actually start jailing British nationalists for our views, because, you know, they're despicable. And the refugee situation, Farage has been inviting refugees into our country for the last 30 years, and that when they start attacking us and killing us, now he's all of a sudden he's at the last minute he's like, oh no, we've got to have a pause on it. Not a complete stop to it, a pause. That's what they're saying at the moment. So I hope they lose tonight. I hope Restore get a good vote. I absolutely really dislike Nigel Farage, and someone had to stop him, and I think Rupert Lowe needs to be commended for stepping up and getting in this election and going for it. And a hell of a lot of people have woken up and they're now against Farage and Reform, and that's great. But there's so many people still supporting them, so we really need Reform to lose tonight. We need Reform to lose, we need Restore to get a decent vote, and that will be the start of hopefully a future party. You know, Restore's not perfect, but they're doing a lot of good stuff that genuine patriots, genuine nationalists agree with. You know, they want to ban kosher and halal for animal cruelty reasons, which is fair because, you know, they've said kosher as well, so that's good. From the sounds of Charlie Downs, they're not going to have Friends of Israel group in the party. You know, I'll be very surprised if that happens, and if it does, I'm going to be totally turned off, and I will not promote it, support it, or join it or anything. You know, there's lots of good things they're doing, and you know, they're willing to say who the British people are. You know, Farage won't even say that. That's another thing about Farage. They won't even say who, you know. And, you know, like I said earlier, I don't have a problem with ethnic minorities joining, but they need to understand that the Union flag and the St George Cross is not their flag. They are adopted. If they're citizens of this country, they're British citizens of whatever heritage they are. They're not British people. Those flags are not their flags. They can support it, they can, you know, cheer it on and get behind it. I don't have a problem with that, but it's not their flag, right? So, you know, it's like if a family adopts a child, they're still going to treat the child more or less the same, but they're not the same. So that's that situation. So yeah, I just hope they lose tonight, Reform. And to be honest with you, it's quite worrying that a 97% white area is Labour are the favourites. I think these polls have been a lie. I really do think they have been a lie. Yeah, so basically, got a loud motorbike going past, or moped. Basically, a lot of people have said to us, oh, why don't you wind down National Housing Party? And at the end of the day, you know, we've got 3 candidates next year. One of the candidates was already campaigning. We'd already done leaflets, and I gave my word that I would carry on until 2027, and that's what we're going to do. And we don't want to just shut it down anyway, because we're not sure about Restore yet. It's not 100% certain that they're going to be the real deal. I mean, look at the state of Reform now. I mean, I knew they was no good from day one, but we need to wait and see what the policies are. Me personally, I want a firm policy of a complete halt to giving out passports to foreigners indefinitely, forever. And it needs to be put in the constitution of this country that no party can ever allow that to happen again. And the only way into a nation should be through a marriage, and that should be strict criteria as well. And that the foreigner who gets married to the British citizen doesn't need to be given a passport. They can be given leave to remain, and if they split up, they've got to leave the country. Simple as that. So yeah, you know, we're not going to just shut it down. We're winding it down. Need to speak to a few people in Restore, and but like I say, we've got one candidate in Bedford and also we've got 2 in Oldham. John Lawrence is going to be standing again. So we're not just going to shut it down, we're winding it down slowly. And to be fair, Restore's only been going 4 months. They've only been registered 4 months. And at the moment, you know, in my election, I got 7.5% of the vote. So if Restore don't get more than that tonight, which is a possibility, you know, I hope they get more, I hope they do well. But if they get under 7.5%, you know, our party's not doing too bad, is it? So let's see what happens tonight. Let's all cheer on Farage's loss if he loses, because he is an anti-white, Christ-hating traitor. That's what he is. And all these, that's another thing, all these Tories they brought into their party, like, it's just unbelievable. And someone said earlier on in the video that the reason Farage allowed Nadine Zahawi in is because he didn't have a choice. The people above him have said, right, you're going to have him in, because he would have known that it would have been a disaster and it's going to turn people away from reform. So is he compromised? Is Farage compromised? You know, this is what people are saying now. So, but yeah, hat off to Rupert Lowe. He's not a young man, and he's taken on Farage, and I commend him for that. You know, whether he's a Zionist or not. You know, and another thing about Rupert Lowe is his account, his Twitter account. He's not running it. So I know there's inklings of him being a Zionist, and but the person running his account who said these things which upset everyone, like, oh, ban the IRGC, we must, what was it? What did he say? Something else about the Iran war. You know, these Zionist talking points. That might not have been Rupert Lowe, but and they need to get a handle on that. Like, I don't think that's very honest, to be honest. Someone else should not be operating your personal social media accounts. You should be doing it yourself, or people, or that it should be the public should be told who actually is doing it. So yeah, that's my views on the big election today. It's going to be a big one, and if Restore do get a big result, it's going to go down in history. It will go down in history, because I'm always of the view that you shouldn't stand in parliamentaries unless you are a household name or you've got 1,000 canvassers who can turn up on the day. That's what happened. They had 1,000 canvassers turn up, which is just incredible. Like, we've never seen anything like this before. This is making history. But yeah, I was of the view, smaller parties who are not household names, there's no point in standing in parliamentaries if you don't hold any local seats within that area. So let's see what happens tonight. It could, you know, who knows what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting though, and you know, I'm just glad to see the enthusiasm. There's so, like, more than 1,000 people turned up to defeat Farage. It's like glory. That's just music to my ears. It's going to be a glorious victory if Farage loses, and doesn't matter, like, if Burnham wins. Labour are in power. They're going to be in power till 2029. So let's see what happens. And another good thing about Restore is they're promoting Christianity, and this is what this country needs. We need Christianity brought back. I think personally the reason we've got weak borders is because they removed Christianity, because Christianity produces big families. Big families demand strong borders. So let's see what happens later on. Thanks for watching. Pat McGuinness, Christ is King.